is up, Illumineers? Lorcana Geek here. Straight off this past weekend, third place at PAX East Lorcana 1K. And I went to PAX East in Boston this past weekend, and I wasn't planning on playing in the tournament, but I'd kind of seen everything there was to see there, and so I decided why not, and I'd brought my deck to maybe get some casual games or something the weekend. So I entered, not really expecting much, and I ended up making top 8, finishing in third place. So what is this deck that I was playing? Emerald Steel Songs. You know me, I love Emerald Steel. It's probably my favorite combination. I've been playing it ever since set 1 competitively. So, but this is the first time that I made a top 8. But let's check out the deck. What does this deck want to do? Just go over it real quick. It wants to keep damaging in the mid game. It's more mid-rangey. Keep damaging opposing characters. Get card advantage through drawing. With, of course, Ursula, Deceiver of All, Let the Storm Rage On, which lets us do, if Ursula sings it, lets us do 2 damage to 2 different things and draw 2 cards. Great if you can get that off. Along came Zeus, another damaging spell to help deal with locations, if they have them, or 5 to a character. And also running 2 Rise of the Titans in action. Not song, unfortunately, but it also helps deal with locations or items. Took out a couple Sleepy's Flutes, Queen's Castles with that. It's a tournament. Grab your sword. 3 we're running. It's great with Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, which deals 1 to everything also, so we can wipe opponent's board with that. Strike a Good Match just lets us draw 2, discard 1. Discard cards that are uninkable or we have multiples of and don't need right at the moment. And of course, if Ursula sings this, we get to draw 4 cards, discard 2, which is really great. 2 Strength of a Raging Fire. I was thinking maybe take out Strike a Good Match and add more Strength of a Raging Fire, because this card was really good, especially if you sing it with Ursula. Deals damage to 2 different targets equal to the number of characters you control. Now I was running 2 A Whole New World. You know, that's not really what this deck is going for, so I only had 2, but Whole New World is still an amazing card, especially against controlling decks. You can force them to discard a bunch of good stuff and make them, you know, when your hand is empty, obviously, and they have 4 or 5 cards, you want to play that one. So what's the rest of the deck? Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist, we have running 4 of. This is probably one of the best cards on the draw if you're trying to catch up to your opponent, because it forces them to not want to quest in the early turns when you drop this on turn 1. Running 3 Robin Hood Beloved Outlaw and 1 Robin Hood Capable Fighter. I like the Robin Hood Capable Fighter just because I'm running the Helga Sinclair. These 2 are really good in combination. And I mean, you could change it to 4 the Robin Hood Beloved Outlaw. Playing 4 Bucky Squirrel Squeak Tutor, because we're running a lot of Floodborn characters. I think it's a total of 13. So we're running, of course, Morph Space Goo to help shift characters onto him. 2 Kit Cloud Kicker Tough Guy. Again, this is good if you're on the draw. It helps to kind of tempo out your opponent. Return hopefully one of their 3 drops to their hand. Get you back on track to win. Forcing them to have to play that character again on turn 4. We have also for the Ursula Deceiver. It helps discard songs from opponent's hand early in the game. 4 Beast Tragic Hero lets us draw. You can shift it onto Morph. 2 Chief Bogo. I don't know if I put this. He does an impersonation of the Tinkerbell Giant Fairy whenever you play a Floodborn character. We're only running 2 because he's uninkable. He's really good. He actually ended up being really good in the tournament. But again, you don't want to be stuck with multiples in your hand, so we're running only 2 of those. 4 of the awesome Robin Hood Champion of Sherwood. We have 8 different ways to shift this out. This card helps us gain lore when we're challenging, and also gets this card advantage when he gets banished by our opponent. Had, I think, 3 or 4 Beast Relentless than this originally. I thought it would be better, but he does cost 6, so very expensive. But he can quest, deal damage to something. He can, like, or he could sing a grab your sword, deal damage, he'll ready, then you can quest with him, deal damage, quest with him again. So it is a really good card, but we're just running 2 of those. Some tips for the deck, especially I think I mentioned if you're on the draw against aggro deck, you want to have Captain Hook and or a Kit Cloud Kicker in your hand. If your opponent, you know they're going to have songs, you want the Ursula Deceiver. I did play a sort of a mirror match against another Emerald Steel deck, and I made sure that I had Ursula Deceiver, but I didn't keep songs in my hand. I think I had a inked turn 1 Strength of a Raging Fire, turn 2 played Strike a Good Match, and discarded a Let the Storm Rage On. And my opponent started to drop characters, thinking I didn't have songs, and I was able to play Ursula Deceiver and then Let the Storm Rage On to destroy, to banish 2 of his characters and draw 2 cards, which actually I think just that play won me the game. There's some good luck there in my draws. So what decks did I play against? This is really good against any kind of aggro deck, obviously with Grab Your Sword and Let the Storm Rage On, just demolishing the smaller characters in the game like Pinocchio and such. So I played an Emerald Amethyst deck that was just trying to quest out quickly, and that was a really good matchup. They did give me 1 game when they were on the play, which I won the dice roll on that one, so I was on the play games 1 and 3 and got that round. Second round I played the mirror match like I was talking about. Third round I played a Sapphire Ruby ramp deck, which he ramped up really well with Mama Odie and 1 jump ahead, but then didn't really draw into anything of relevance, and I was able to mid-game draw into Beast and Robin Hood and Tinkerbell, the bigger heavy hitters, to win. Then I played against a Amber Steel Songs deck, which is a bad matchup for this. So if you have a lot of those in your meta, I would not play this deck. It was a really tough game, and I was able to game 3. I was able to get game 2 in that one. I lost the die roll, so he was on the play and just demolished me with Ariel and Songs game 1. Game 2, I was able to get a win because I think he had a little bit of a bad draw, and I actually tempoed him out with Ursula Deceiver into Kit Cloud Kicker to pop an Ariel back to his hand, which might seem like a bad play, but I had a whole new world in my hand, so I knew he was going to play the Ariel again, and then I was able to play out a whole new world and make him discard like 7 cards and draw 7 new. So that ended up being an actually really good play for me, and I was able to get that game. Then game 3, time got called since we were running a little long, and he had out a Cinderella, and I was able to, along came Zeus, and throw a Beast into this to get the Cinderella off the board and kind of force a tie in that game. Then the last round, I was in 5th round, I was in 2nd place, and we just tied out and went into the top 8, and I played Ruby Amethyst Control, which again, I just tempoed them out with Kit Cloud Kicker, Ursula Deceiver, was able to get Bucky out and start making them discard cards. Then I got out the Robin Hood Capable Fighter, Helga Sinclair combo, which just worked out amazingly. And whenever they dropped anything, I just Robin Hood pinged it, quested with Helga to deal the rest of the damage. And this is where the Rise of the Titans really was good and got rid of Queen's Castle. So I was able to win that matchup. And then I played again against the Amber Steel Songs, and he just utterly demolished me. I don't even think I got on the board either games. He 2-0'd me easily. So again, it's a very bad matchup for this deck. I don't know what could make it better. I was thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe putting in a Mother Knows Best, kind of if they play Cinderella, kind of bounce it back to their hand. But even then, it was just like game one, I tried to put out early characters, and he just destroyed everything that I put out with his songs to his advantage, and then dropped Cinderella to win. And I couldn't get her off board. Then game two, I tried to go after his hand and not drop early characters, and he just played Robin Hood, Beloved Outlaw, and shifted turn 3 into Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. And I didn't have anything to deal with it, and so he was able to win that game easily. So that's what I ended up in third place, and in the top two decks ended up being the Amber Steel Songs and a Ruby Amethyst control player, the one that I was supposed to play in round 5, but we just intentionally drew, so I never actually got to play her because she ended up first in the Swiss and I was third. But overall, it was a really good tournament. I'm happy that I top 8'd and ended up in third place, and I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. Maybe I'll come back another time and play it some on Pixelborn, see how I do with it there. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Remember, like and subscribe.